Hey everybody, TVP UK. I'm Aidan, point of contact. We've got Mick and Ludus here as inevitable, as always, I guess. My rocks. Oh god, that's terrible. Stop it. Okay, I've got two bits of information to give out before we crack in today. One is we're doing, excuse me, VegFest Bristol is coming up. It's on Sunday, which is the 23rd, I believe, maybe 24th of May in Bristol. Go to vegfest.co.uk and you'll find all the information about that. Sheena's going down, and we're having more of a informal chat with maybe a few kind of videos rather than a big presentation. Unfortunately, Jack and Roxanne couldn't Skype in, as they sometimes do. So that's going to be cool. Everyone go along to that if you like. Just cool stuff. You don't even have to be vegan, vegetarian. That's fine. The other one is I just want to promote a bit more the TVP and TVP magazine Android application, which is now out. So if you have an Android phone like me, no brands named, go to the store and search for TVP magazine. It's a really good app. It gives you all the stuff from the website. Basically, it now means that TVP magazines are kind of searchable, and you get a whole bunch of stuff, and you can get notified when the next one comes out. So it starts getting a bit more interactive. So it's really cool, and I'm going to hopefully try and help TO make it a bit cooler as we go along. Anyway, so that's kind of the things from me. We're cracking on again with our FAQ study session. This week we're on number 6, 7, and 8. So let's have a look. What is number 6? So number 6, the question is, what are some of the detrimental effects of the monetary system? Which is an interesting question. Mick, do you want to read your one out first? Your answer?
Yes.
Sorry, just for everyone who might not have come across this before, just to explain the format. So we go onto the FAQ on the venusproject.com/FAQ, and we go and look at the question, and we try and answer the question ourselves beforehand. So me and Mick have both sat down for like a minute and just try to answer this question quickly. And then what we're going to do is look at the answers that are actually on the website and kind of cross-reference our answers to theirs and see if there's gaps in our understanding. So generally that's what we're doing. So yeah, okay. Thanks, Mick.
I had the answer of what are some of the detrimental effects of the monetary system. I said the monetary economy says that public health, morals, ethics and the environment are externalities, and in treating public health, morals, ethics and the environment as externalities, there's more pollution, which affects climate change and global warming, which will become a hazard to our survival, our species survival, and it also means that the behaviours of people are getting worse, and leading to wars also getting worse.
Good answer. Alright, my answer was, let's see, war, poverty, greed, and environmental destruction, to name a few. There are far too many negative effects to list, and there are many organisations out there who attempt to expose these issues. Save the Children, Arctic Ice organisations. There's lots and lots of people out there who are trying to raise these issues. However, we as the Venus Project feel it's much more important to provide a feasible alternative rather than just merely kind of pointing out the problems. And this is why we advocate a resource-based economy. It's a totally different economic system which can solve many of the detrimental effects which we've posted above, and we'll strive to be as clean and good for people as possible. Kind of paraphrasing my answer there, but that's basically what I wrote. Ludus, do you want to, I know you haven't done it already, do you want to just kind of add anything to what we said, maybe? You think an area that we've missed?
I can, I think. I mean, I think really the main thing that I'm going to take, and especially since you triggered the subject of university just prior to this meeting, then my addition would be, with all of this drive by all kinds of governments of we need to educate the kids. Well, if that truly is their case, and if that truly is their goal, then they're essentially just red herrings. Their claims are not based in reality. Because if they were, those supposed kids who they want to educate would not be cornered into degree programs of becoming, I don't know, a dentist or a lawyer or some kind of marketer. These sales and management and business management degrees, I mean, when I spoke to people, when I did have this privilege, if you want to call it that, of going at least into that environment, people, that's what they said. And their response to why do you go and why do you do this course in specific is because it pays well. I mean, if this is your drive, then not only are you going to ruin your life just in the long term, because obviously you're not driven by, oh, you know what, this excites me. This gets me up in the morning. I can't wait to go to my class because we get to experience and research phenomena that interest me personally, right? I get high just by doing this, by learning about it. If that's not the answer, then, I mean, it's a sad case. It's a sad scenario. And that seems to be the main scenario. So why and what detrimental effects does the money have? Well, that's just one. But obviously, if we are in UK, specifically, that's where I live, bedroom tax, which was a big controversy recently, people, rich people, and rich investors crouching into land where there are not many rich people at all, then what that means is the new buildings that are erected, the already desperate families and people and students and whoever cannot afford that housing. They are driven away, essentially.
Mm-hmm.
So
have you heard of the
that's it.
Brooklyn Renaissance?
I have not.
Last 10 years, lots of rich white people have gone into Brooklyn in New York, which is very lower kind of economic class or whatever, if you want to label it like that. And they basically rich white people buying out all the poor black people and making the area nice again. From nice from their point of view, and inflating the house prices and all that. It's pretty terrible.
So essentially, we're talking about gentrification.
If my memory of that word is correct, then probably yes.
Okay.
Well, what does that word mean?
It literally means exactly what Aiden said. If he is to just use one word to describe that concept of rich people encroaching upon not so rich people's territory and driving them out just by not just insufficiency of money on the not so rich people part, that's gentrification. I come in here, I build shit you can't afford just by necessity of you needing money to live in this new place I built, and you don't have it, you fuck off. That's literally it.
Yeah. All right. So that's good. We went kind of slightly different routes, I think. Let's see what they said. So I guess I'll read this up. So, directly quoting from the website now. What are some of the detrimental effects of the monetary system? There are many disadvantages to using this old method of exchange for goods and services. We will consider just a few here and let you add to this list on your own. Money is just an interference between what one needs and what one is able to get. It is not money that people need, it is access to resources. The use of money results in social stratification and elitism based primarily on economic disparity. 3. People are not equal without equal purchasing power. 4. Most people are slaves to jobs they do not like because they need the money. 5. There is tremendous corruption, greed, crime, embezzlement, and more caused by the need for money. 6. Most laws are enacted for the benefit of corporations which have enough money to lobby, bribe, and persuade government officials to make laws that serve their interests. more so in America than UK, but still is a factor. 7, those who control purchasing power have greater influence. 8, money is used to control the behavior of those with limited purchasing power. 9, goods such as foods are sometimes destroyed to keep prices up. When things are scarce, prices increase. 10, there is tremendous waste of materials and strain of available resources from superficial design changes or newer, later fads each year in order to create continuous markets for manufacturers. So, a mobile phone that dies every year. 11, there is tremendous environmental degradation due to the high cost of better methods of waste disposal. 12, the earth is being plundered for profit. 13, the benefits of technology are only distributed to those with sufficient purchasing power. And 14, most important, when the corporation's bottom line is profit, decisions in all areas are made not for the benefits of people and the environment, but primarily for the acquisition of wealth, property, and power. All right, that's a pretty good list. Obviously, there's a bunch of extra things, some of which we said. Just the one that I want to maybe zoom in on is number 9, where it says that foods are sometimes destroyed to keep prices up, and things are scarce, prices increase. Which kind of sums up for me one of the answer to this, or a big thing for this, which I didn't actually say in my answer, which is whilst you have the monetary system, you'll have scarcity. There cannot be abundance because there's no profit in it. So it's designed to make scarcity. And we kind of alluded to it in our answers, but that's just kind of one sentence which I think kind of sums it up a bit. Or at least an aspect of it. Anyone else? I feel like I'm talking a lot.
Yeah, well, the one bit that I suppose I'm basically going back on my word on non-participation. I'm already a blabbermouth, so there we go. 6, yeah, when it says lobby, bribe, persuade government. And you, Hayden, said more so in America than in UK. I can see why it would seem like it. Because in US they literally have lobbyists, which is, I mean, it's retarded that that's even a word. It's as though you would want an operation of sorts to be secretive. And you basically carry a huge sign, like half a meter by half a meter saying, I'm a spy, or some shit, you know what I mean? It's just retarded that it's even there, and people don't make as much noise about it as one would if they knew what their job even was. That aside, in UK, bribes and lobbies still exist, but they are just not carrying the said proverbial sign that I just described. Why I'm saying this and how I can back this up is the Sun. During the election time, Russell Brand, if anybody actually does care to look at the post-election analysis that he posted, and the beautiful examples of why I'm going to say what I'm going to say. Rupert Murdoch, backer of David Cameron. Why? Because only Clegg and Labour. Thank you very much. Miliband, right, were portrayed as just dumps, just sort of little dopes, just somebody who can't handle tying their own shoes, essentially. Miliband was shown eating sandwich as though he's retarded or something. I mean, that's literally slander to the highest degree. Another reason, how come fracking just started in 2008, 9 or some such? Before then, I saw nothing about it. I might be just ignorant and it did exist before, but at least I definitely don't remember being pushed at such force. And again, from Cameron. Multiple other things, such as using a different kind of food and all other kind of methods to, horse meat scandal, all that kind of stuff. So there are things, but they're not done just out in your face. And obviously the ultimate example I can give is just clearly how banks can get away with almost anything. I can't remember what happened in Cyprus, where essentially people came just simply, they came one day to collect their money. Bank says, we don't have it. Just simply canceled took everybody's savings, everybody's money from their accounts in Cyprus Bank. Can't remember the year, but yeah, people came to collect nothing, zero, and they got away with it. There's nothing, nobody suffered any consequences. But I just wanted to cover that.
No, I think you're right. My initial reaction was probably more to the way it was worded. Just kind of thinking that's I don't know. There's probably some terrible patriotism in there to thinking that we're not as bad as US. I'm sure we are. Me, that is me. Okay. Anything else on that? We'll move on. All right. So, question number 7. Let's see what it says. It says, you mentioned economic collapse in your book, The Best That Money Can't Buy. Do you believe that this is the only way our society can escape a monetary economy? Do you want to start again, Nick, or I'll go first?
Yeah, I'll let you go first. I think we said something similar anyway.
Yeah, pretty much. So I said monetary collapse is one way to a resource-based economy, and in many respects it is the most likely way. However, there are other routes to a resource-based economy through, let's say, a coordinated shift in thinking across the globe. The Venus Project is trying hard right now to begin this process through their aims and proposals, which is available on their website. And this doesn't need an economic or environmental collapse to proceed to a full resource-based economy. It's a tough job that we have, but one that we relish.
Yeah, like my first 4 words are the same as yours. Monetary collapse is one way, but there may be other ways to escape from a monetary society if people could be better educated about the flaws of the current economy. Nice and short.
Yeah, that's a good answer. Let's see what they say, but yeah, I think my guess is on this one, kind of like the one before. I'm actually surprised on question 6 that they listed so many flaws. It's one of the questions where where Jack says in some of his early ones, it's a really low grade question. You just kind of, you can answer it really quickly and be as vague as the question is and move on, because they'll either ask you something more intelligent or not. Intelligent may not be the right word. But let's see what they say. Okay. Oh, where's it gone? Do you want to read it this time, Nick?
Can do. No government in history has ever planned ahead and directed society into the next phase of social evolution. Established orders want to perpetuate themselves. Unfortunately, it may take an economic breakdown and people becoming disillusioned with their leaders before they will seek an alternative social direction. Social change was always brought about by economic collapse, corruption in government, abuse of the population, etc. Governments are generally comprised of businessmen, lawyers, and other self-appointed individuals with personal and corporate interests rather than upgrading society as a whole. So is that kind of saying that that is the only one way that it'll happen?
That's an interesting answer. I'm not sure I'm behind it 100%. So, the first sentence to start off with, no government's planned ahead and directed society.
I think that made me think like of emergent societies, like I don't know whether it went Tudors, Victorians, or what, but I'm guessing like the Tudors didn't expect to be Victorians, etc.
That's true. And I know what they're trying to say here, but I would say the Nazis fit in that. I would say Stalin fit in that. Like the next phase doesn't mean a better phase. It just means they planned and directed their societies towards a social plan that they had, and to me that kind of fits in that. So I'm not sure if I agree wholly. With the wording, I think.
Yeah. Just the semantics.
It's what you're saying. It's the emergence effect that they don't. it's talking about the established order is trying to perpetuate itself. It's not like Parliament dissolving itself or something.
Yeah, well done. Those words used, dissolving itself, is what Jacques used in his old lectures to describe nobody wants to phase themselves out, even though that's the only way which will make sense. You don't want to drag a plow, you want to create a tractor and automate the tractor if you even go that far, you know what I mean? You just relax or do things that you want to do. But
That's right.
and by the way, I agree with you. You semantically, you absolutely make sense. It's just one would have to assume, and I suppose that's not a good thing to do when you're reading FAQ, but one would have to immediately assume, if reading this answer, that it's only talking from the Venus Project's point of view.
And it's kind of interesting because to me that whole paragraph basically says, do you believe that the only way out is through a collapse? And that answer says yes to me. Well, their aims and proposals don't require one. Don't they?
I didn't think about that, but yeah, like they're talking about getting the first. Just run through the proposals again. Is it like firstly educate people and get out a video, and then
Yes. I'm trying to remember off the top of my head.
and then second one.
The center there in Florida. The second one was movies, documentaries, raising awareness. Generally, we're in that phase now of educating and raising awareness. Third phase is a major motion picture. Liz is shaking his head. I may be getting these slightly wrong, but vaguely. Third was the major motion picture, kind of major public audience kind of deal. And then from there, it was kind of research city / maybe a theme park was kind of in the. I kind of forget the further I get on, but I don't think in it. Yes, Linus.
No, it's just slightly misordered. Immediately when you folks started to talk about aims and proposals, I brought it up. Would you like me to quickly read or not?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, the phase one is first phase of the Venus Project long-term plans is already underway. Fresco futurist, inventor, blah 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 blah. The rest of the stuff has already built a 21-acre research center in Venus, Florida, to help present the proposals of the Venus Project. They basically list that videos, CDs, posters, pamphlets, models, renderings, and books such as The Best Money Can't Buy, Beyond Politics, Poverty, and War have been created to help raise awareness about this project and its many proposals. So that's phase one, it's done. And, well, being done every single day they're alive. Phase two is actually what they say, includes the production of a full-length feature film that will depict how a world embracing the proposals advanced by the Venus Project would work. This film would provide a positive vision of peaceful society in which all human beings form a global family on the planet Earth, of civilization in which all people engaged in the pursuit of better understanding of the world they share. This film has been designed to be an entertaining and educational experience for both adults and children. And then the phase three is when they say, to test its designs and proposals, TVP is working towards putting its ideas. I have a big problem with them not correcting this. The words actually say its ideals instead of ideas. It's a big problem. But again, that's nothing I can do about it now. Ideals to put in practice by construction of an experimental research city. Blueprints for most of the initial technologies and buildings have begun. Fundraising efforts are currently underway to help support the construction of the first experimental city. That's not true, is it?
Or fundraising efforts.
The funds. So where are they getting this money to?
They're constantly talking to people in the background about getting funds for this kind of project. It might well be it's underway even if they haven't collected any money at all at the moment. I would say in the broader sense. I'm not sure how far they've got. They probably won't say until they're good enough to really do something, if you know what I mean. they're not crowdfunding it. If that's what you're asking for. They just think it's way too much money to be asking for.
And you're correct. I mean, I'm remembering 2011 some month seminar online where Roxanne literally addressed it, and she more or less sounded just like you, which is one, too much money, no way are we going to crowdfund, and two, definitely they're already underway, and they actually explicitly said that at certain points in time, people did approach them, offered large sums of money, and said we need to see designs. They didn't have it, but only because, and again, this is in one of the seminars. I'm sorry, I don't remember the date, 2011, where she says it simply costs a lot to, and she said specific words. The initial blueprints, the initial the drawings, the plans, the actual blueprints. But it even cost them. What is it? She said in the millions. I don't get it though. I'm sorry. Like I said, my memory's shit. I'm paraphrasing. If people really want to find it, I'm sorry, it's hazy, but it's 2011 online seminar, and she addresses the question. But so thanks just for filling in.
Cool. Because that's kind of the key for me, which is they need funding for this first city. Can't do that in the middle of a collapse. So really want to hit it up beforehand, or maybe like a kind of partial scare rather than a full-on collapse could spur people. But we all saw 2007 and what's changed. So who knows? It might. Basically, I think me and Mick, our answers when addressing the general public on the street is kind of more a better way to put it, if you know what I mean. The way that they say it is very, very bleak, and I know where they're coming from, and in all kind of reality, he's going to need some sort of catalyst to get the aims and proposals really kicking along, or to change them in a way. It might be that a collapse would have to mean that they change, and you might get more luck in a different methodology and different time. Who knows? But yeah, okay. I'm pretty happy with that question.
Yeah, I was just going to say to add to that question, like the way we said it leaves room for like there isn't just one way.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I like in any sort of thing that's like asking about the transition, asking about how do you get there. I just go, well, we've got the aims and proposals, and I haven't seen a better plan yet. So, and I kind of leave it at that. I don't get into, well, we could have a semi-cooperative thing with a government and a local, there could be tons of different transition methods, and people see whatever they see, and they'll think of their own transitions, which could all be possible, just some will be more likely than others. Okay, next question.
Can I quickly?
Yes.
Sorry, it's just to be referential. There literally is a lecture, 58-minute, if I recall, called Jacques Fresco about transition. And I very highly recommend it to anybody who has any kind of questions. He does go into, I mean, I'm a layman, so I'm going to say it sounds technical to me. He literally addresses things like food shortages, who gets housed where, how assignments get given, how the thing is going to get built, who's going to build it, how fast is it going to get built. So if people have interest in questions like these, I highly recommend to just simply go YouTube and Jacques Fresco on transition, and it should be 50-ish minutes audio. That's all.
Thanks, Lewis. That's a good one. I'll remember to add that into my list of things to mention about the transition. Okay, the next one is, wouldn't there be resistance from the rich and powerful? To spell check the question. Now the questions actually, I believe this is why some of them are put a bit weirdly, is that they were actually taken originally from a Google moderator. And some of the questions you could put on there are from people who are non-English speakers, so you get slight grammar weirdness. Like, well, this actually says, wouldn't there be resistance of the rich and powerful? Which doesn't make sense. Okay. I'll do my one first. It's a bit longer than Mick's. Let's see what I've said. This depends on the type of transition. We have often seen resistance from the rich and powerful to solutions which undermine their power. However, in a resource-based economy, the eventual aim is to uplift all humans' living standards by such a degree that it is in the best interests of the rich and powerful to join with us. There is no 99% and no 1%. We're all humans, and believe that whilst approaching and getting through to these people may be a tricky task, it is one which we can do through reaching out and embracing all of humanity rather than taking the stance of us versus them.
And I just got, at first maybe, but during transition, when the rich can see that they don't need to spend so much money protecting the property, then they may realise that a resource-based economy would benefit them as well.
That's quite a good answer. Nice easy one. Not easy. Kind of a tricky question. But alright, let's see what they say. They say, what you had to say about the rich and powerful being resistant to such a society in many cases is true. However, if they keep using automation in their industries as they have in order to compete, millions of people will be replaced by machines. This includes not only the assembly line workers, but also doctors, engineers, architects, and the like. As they lose their purchasing power, the very industries that depend on them can no longer function. This will bring an end to the outworn monetary system. It is not a question of them giving up their industries, it is that their greed will eventually render them obsolete. Only when science and technology are used with human concern in a world in which all of the Earth's resources are held in common heritage of all the Earth's people, can we truly say that there is intelligent life on Earth. Bit preachy final sentence.
Just I'm going to call them stumping questions. Say if I don't know, I'm a major capitalist economist that believes the people at the top would they not introduce laws to make it so that, I don't know, people end up being, I don't know, it can't even work like that, can it? I was just thinking, like, if they made up some sort of laws to, like, stop it from collapsing as quick due to this automation, but I don't think it can.
Well, they'll try things like universal basic income. They'll try things like reducing the work week, and these will be things which we say, or like this discussion, at least in various groups that I'm with. These are good things we should start implementing as transitional models, but really they prop up where we are, and it's only kind of now that I've really seen that. But I think that they would do that kind of thing. There's been numerous cases in the past, say, where they've banned a technology because it undermines their own power base. If you know what I mean. I'm trying to think of any example.
There's something that dentists. I heard this on the radio, so it might not be true, but the dentists, like, somebody found something that, like, stopped the decay completely, and they could, like, put it on children, and for the rest of their life they'd be fine. But because that would put dentists out of work, they didn't use it, and I could be wrong, and I don't know what it's called.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of things where laws come into it. Well, let's say, okay. One in America in the early 90s is the illegalization and tarnishing of hemp, because it was a replacement for paper and various other products, but basically the paper industry got it illegalized through whatever we were talking about earlier, the bribing of politicians. Just an example. So,
Couple more.
yeah.
Well, there are other examples, and the only ones I can think of just right now are automotive transportation, namely Volkswagen, which was, I mean, I really hope I'm not mistaken. If I am, fine. Ran on water or something to such degree where it was fine. It was safe on the road. It was tested. It was just done. And I can't remember. This was just a little bit before Tesla debacle. Uh, and it's not going to be introduced on the roads in Europe anywhere. And again, this is 2013 info, I think.
Mm.
I mean, like I said, it's quite a few years back. I'm obviously very shady on details, and I'm sorry about that, but I can't remember everything perfectly. But the other examples are, in fact, Tesla, where I, uh, as I remember, a couple of months back, the deal was that still in 3 states they're just simply banned of selling the car. You just can't drive a Tesla in the 3 specific states. And again, why? Because first and foremost, Tesla literally has no middleman. They will cater to you specifically. They will design you car. So what we, if anybody has any time heard what Jacques says about interior design, is that essentially a type of bubble, a dome will give you a holographic projection of what your house would look like. So you will be basically a maker of the inside. The rest, the structural engineers and whatnot, will take care of how strong it is and how it's built and all the rest, but you will take care of where the bath goes, let's say. Just minute details like that. So Tesla does this with cars. You say that, no, I want this here, not there, I want that, whatever it is, the ventilators or blowers, the air blowers are specifically designed or such. But they don't have a middleman. You literally just click, it's internet, you order, you. So there's no person selling that stuff to you in some, perfectly lit glass house. There's no element like that. So a lot of people lose out on money.
And I think with Tesla, the case it's not really that there's no middleman. From the fightback is the petrol companies.
Mm.
Well,
Yeah,
obviously.
In that exact situation, no, it's a good thing you're raising. Actually, I don't know if I've told you guys, but my new job is with an automotive company that will remain nameless. And like I went to a conference there last week, so I wasn't here. And there's lots of things there which are really cool technologies and stuff which will not see the light of day. Or just like concepts of things, which is going to take a long time. And the issues in this conference and where I work, we're in the EU market, so we have 27, 30 odd countries that we have to write things that will work in all of them and all their different laws and all their different. If one country decides to do something really harsh, then you kind of has to roll out across the rest because we have to cover ourselves.
Does anybody see the Tesla powerhouse battery thing? That looks pretty interesting, but again, I think that'll come up against some obstacles on its way.
Well, the interesting thing is there's big companies out there who are talking about this stuff, at least in conferences. Some of the companies I was out there were talking about really cool, futuristic, green, autonomous cars, ride sharing was a big thing. I was in Berlin, which is like one of the cities of ride sharing. As in, you have an app, you go, I want a car now, and you go up and you find it just around the corner and you get in.
Wow.
Not like lift sharing. Actually, there's a car on the road, and anyone who can look at it and pick it up and use it for a certain hour and stuff like that.
Wow.
That was really, really interesting. I was talking to a few people. There's a guy from Siemens who was really interested in this stuff, and about transport as a service rather than basically access over ownership. We're having this whole discussion, and I was just like, yeah, people want access over ownership, which is right down the. line of thought. He wants to charge people like €100 a month or something on a contract base, but we might get there in the end. But there's lots of cool things and lots of big companies out there that are doing really cool infrastructure stuff in the cities and really cool self-driving stuff. And I just kind of wish that technology would be able to get put in without the current framework of the cities. You know what I mean? Feed that into a new city. Because we have today, we could have really, really cool intelligent transport systems today if all the cars are out there. Because quite a lot of cars are now getting connected to the internet, basically, all the time. And so we can have all the different cars that are out there connected to the internet, feeding back real-time data into a system about traffic, about weather. And so you could have this whole sensor network out there. But the problem is, the guy from a big German car company said there's no business case for them to share their data. It's not really their data, or they think it's their data, or the customers think it's their data. But you could have a really cool service where all the car manufacturers put into this, but it's just not a case. So we're going to have lots of overlapping, well, not even overlapping, but separate but overlapping systems, and you never know which one will be right.
What, just like the case with the different cables you need to buy for each new iteration of Apple device?
Yeah, well, that's to sell peripherals, but yeah.
So I just have a question. So with this answer to question A, I mean, really, what I'm getting as a foundation answer from Jacques is that automation will take care of it. Nobody has to, in the old sense of let's grab our pitchforks. It's as though it's just, no, I want to be competitive against China, against Iran, whatever the hell is, or Russia are stepping on our toes in whatever kind of industry. And so to get stuff out faster, get it out more efficiently, machines, your own order, your own paid for machines are going to make you as a businessman, as the owner of those machines, go away, just due to your own insufficiency in long-term thinking. Is that efficient? Is that a good enough answer?
I think that's an answer which for a lot of people is not going to be okay and is going to cause a lot of problems. Because until you get to the tipping point where most people are unemployed, you're going to have lots and lots of people unemployed and still suffering a lot. And in that situation, then it's just inevitable that you have violent protests, and then you have the inevitable backlash from the people in power, and so I think through that way, kind of pretty inevitably, unless there's a big educational mindset with the people who are unemployed, which is what we're trying to do, but with the people generally as they are today, you just get violence, and there will be more backlash, and then there will be real attempts, at least, to defend their positions. I don't think the big businessmen are really that stupid to just run themselves out of business.
But it's not intentional, though. And I mean, I'm really saying this only because Chris Hedges, he's a journalist who is a long-time writer about things like this, the politics, the corruption in the politics, the elite, how the elite operate, why they operate. And I've really not watched too much documentation, but with one interview essentially mentioned that he grew up in a circle of elite kids. When I say elite kids, all I basically mean is folks who happen to belong to families who are ultra rich. And so he was in that circle. Just he happened to be in that circle. And so he literally said that these people, it's not their fault, even in that kind of phrasing, as though was Jacques speaking himself, saying that, look, it's not their fault. They do literally are in this environment. They catch all these values. We're better, we're leaders, we're owners, we're CEOs. Therefore, you behave like a CEO. And once you do, again, what do you want? If the bottom line is profit, that's what you look out for. No, screw the forest, screw your mother, screw your brothers. Yeah, they got pneumonia, they got whatever the fuck it is. They're gonna die of it. You didn't work hard enough. right? But that's the education that you got as a kid, as a rich kid, during your childhood. So, with that, it's been shown that simply these people do not have long-term visions. They don't. Otherwise, if they do, you're looking at Elon Musk. But again, he's looked as an enemy, and he only would be looked at as an enemy if the visions for short-term, long-term do not match. Because if they match, you don't have things like fracking. You just don't. Because you understand that the fucking Earth is going to crack open, and you know what I mean. I'm just obviously exaggerating, but sorry, talking too much.
I thought to myself, if these businessmen, like Jeremy Rifkin's done a lot of talks to apparently like the high up people. If these businessmen understand that automation is going to destroy business and change society, what is another option for them if they've got to compete against each other to how do I put it? If they've got to compete against each other, but they understand that that competition is going to make them obsolete. Is there any other options for them? What could they do to stop it? I mean, I'm just going to go on speculation here again, but like I look at like Ray Kurzweil, and it's as if he's talking about that like very few people will have the money to buy anything. Like, I don't know, the rest of them will die off or something. But then like the people that do have the money to buy will be buying from people who are like mining the moon and setting up on Mars and mining asteroids and stuff. Does that seem feasible to any of you guys?
What, as possible future professions?
Well, like there's not going to be many people. Well, there's not going to be many people at all to buy the products. So, like, wouldn't they just have like, I don't know, the people that are going to the asteroids to mine, the people that are building things on Mars, etc. Those are the people that would have the money to pay for the products, sort of thing. And like it'd just be like the rest of the world goes to shit and dies. I don't know. So like, could there be any form of capitalism that doesn't become obsolete the way like Rifkin and Fresco talk about it becoming obsolete?
Sorry, this. Just respond quickly. Sorry, I don't know. I think in that exact situation, it's going to be cheaper to send robots to mine stuff in space anyway, so that's not a problem. I think in terms of competition and price lowering, you know, as Rifkin says, he says that the prices will eventually near zero, or the marginal cost at least will near zero in his book, Zero Marginal Cost Society. I kind of imagine that as maybe, you know, an inverse exponent. So as it gets closer, it will slow down, which will kind of mean that competition, because the margins will start getting slower and slower. They're not going to really, so it's not going to suddenly kind of drop off, I don't think. But who knows? You could get mega global, like five giant brands on the whole of the planet, and that's it. All the others have died off. They're the only ones that could survive. Yes.
Well, I mean, the only sources I can draw from are people who are smarter than me, namely other folks I've heard speak, such as Fresco, and another man who I keep forgetting his name. But when Fresco spoke about that, there was another quite intelligent man who asked him a question in the 70s and 80s, and essentially said, well, how about if there's another war, they could blame it on the Russians. And Fresco just openly said they might. They already almost had it, with the Cuban. You almost had World War III. And, well, that's then, I suppose my understanding is, yeah, it could happen. So essentially, again, it just all falls down to the same very simple and fucked up but very mechanistic statement of if you do nothing, nothing will happen. So if we are able to then look back in however many years and make, essentially, if I'm getting the example right, we're kind of looking at Elysium type example where everybody is living in the gutter and your existence is subpar at best. Then, I mean, well, that's it. That's the life you got. So if you got no power, if you got no way to spread awareness, if you don't have it to such a degree where it can spread fast enough to make a large enough impact, and I'm talking about large enough where majority of the population will see the example that would be hopefully the research city, see the unnecessity of money, see the reality of, hey, resources determine how soft your bed becomes, and science shows that such and such will make you sleep like a goddamn baby, then yeah, you're fucked. Because, I mean, really, what is there to put a stop to any of this? Well, you know what I mean? To what we hope will not occur. Because, I mean, I really didn't think things like in Baltimore they're going to happen. I mean, people literally are being slaughtered. You know what I mean? It's just, every single day they just get slaughtered. So I'm sitting here and I'm talking about it, but there's families who are fucking crying their eyes out now, and because their husbands, sons, daughters just murdered. So, and it's now, we still have relative jobs, and hey, I'm a lawyer or whatever the fuck it is. It's already fucking bad. Nobody takes into account. That's the whole point. So people who ask these questions in the first place, they look at this current situation as though it's not that bad. It's really fucking horrible, actually. A lot of people, literally in Spain, I mean, there's fucking police videos. Just a guy stepping in front of a line of interviewers and journalists, just unloading a clip from a pistol into a crowd. I mean, if that's not insane and fucked up and something that Hollywood makes, I don't want to see any further stages of this. But obviously, the trend shows us that that is actually more likely to happen than a swift turnaround of, oh yeah, you know what, the Venus Project does make sense. So, I mean, not to be all too, nihilistic, as though there's no point to life, but it's the trends, isn't it? I mean, what's the likelihood of Apple going bankrupt tomorrow? That's the whole point, isn't it? To look at trends?
Yeah.
I got a bit depressed the other day, maybe nihilistic, I don't know. And I was just thinking about the bonus that I have to work. I might get the sack if I don't hit bonus, and they just keep putting pressure on and pressure on. But and I was thinking about other things to do with society. How like people are just pushed to the limit to do as much as possible and get as little as possible. And the structural violence, etc., that like people in more so poorer countries, definitely more so in poorer countries than here. But it just the words that I wrote on my arm so that I could write down in a poem later on was, it's easier to die in this economy than it is to live. And I know that sounds a bit like depressing. I don't know, give up, but I think society seems to be heading for I mean, if I was in a poor country, I'd have hung myself. You know what I mean? So, I don't know. People have to be strong, I suppose.
Depends how you count poor. I know some people were very, very poor when I was traveling, and they were really happy. But that was part of their background. Yes. Education. Cool. Anyway, let's just finally wrap it up with that question in a sentence. We're saying, wouldn't there be resistance from the rich and powerful? Well, yes, there already is resistance to new technologies, and there has been historical resistance. In the future, there likely would be. Jacques says in one of his, I think it's the 80s lectures, that if he was elected president, he'd be assassinated within a week. um, and that eventually that the automation of the industries today will be the eventual downfall of the rich and powerful. Whilst at the same time, let's keep in mind that it's not an us versus them, and we want to try and spread the message that we don't want to be ransacking their mansions and taking their stuff. We want to be helping everyone to far surpass their standards of living. Good kind of summing up of that.
Yeah.
Very well done.
Cool. Well, it's been a good week. I think we did 3 in an hour. That's pretty good. Kind of tough questions. Got any your doozies, Mick?
You what?
Your what do you call them? Stumper questions.
Stumping questions, yeah. Oh yeah, I did have. What people might say to me for question 8. So going back to question 8, somebody might say to me, "I don't think the rich will allow a resource-based economy. They'll kill us all before they give up their power." What do you think to that?
Show me the evidence.
Yeah. Question 7. Let's have a look what that is. You mentioned an economic collapse in your book. Do you believe this is the only way our society can escape a monetary system? And somebody would probably say to me, I don't think an economic collapse will happen. They will just keep printing money. What do you think to that?
Take a look at post-World War I Germany. Generally, I would say a crash course in how money works.
Yeah.
Okay.
And for question 6, what are some detrimental effects of the monetary system? I watched a video or a TEDx talk with a guy, and I think at one time his son as well, saying that less people are dying every year and the poor are getting better standards of living every year in a monetary economy. I think it's talking like the trickle-down effect, but it's
Hans
very
Rosling.
slow. Yeah, that sounds like him, yeah. Yeah, what do you say to that money is helping people?
I haven't seen that video yet. I don't know if Felix wants to direct it.
It's like he shows that I don't know, people were traveling by bike or something in like India or something, and now they're traveling by car or motorbike, and then in the future they'll be traveling by, I don't know, plane. But it was, I think it was like, I think it's the trickle down economics idea that like even though there are very many poor people, that things are getting better for them, just very slowly.
Yeah, my kind of thing on that would be is what criteria is he saying, and if he's talking purely economical, then at what cost to the environment? Say, is are we, progress obviously has been made with the monetary system up till now. We're not still bashing clubs over our heads, and we've got the fire and we've been to the moon. So obviously there is some sort of progress being made, but the efficiency and the fairness of its use, distribution of the advantages of that technology is very unequal, and but likely the data that he's presenting is not the full story.
Yeah, I'll have to try and get a video for you and send it.
Yeah, that'd be interesting to have a look at.
But yeah, that's all from me.
That's good. Nice little pop quiz at the end. Cool. All right, I'll stop the broadcast now. For anyone, I think the video that Mick was just talking about was by a guy called Hans Rosling. It just sounded very crappy when you said it earlier, Lucas. So if you want to go check that out, Google that and TEDx, and you'll probably find it. All right, thanks everyone. Next week we're going to do question 9, 10, and 11. So have a little look through them beforehand, and I'll add your answers into the sheet or in your own separate sheet, and we can go through them again like we have this week. Thank you everyone for watching.